Hey friends, John Beaudin, Shannon Edwards.
Hi, welcome. I went out with some friends tonight, and you know what? I was not going to miss our 9 o'clock feed. So here we are in all our glory. We're just hanging out today.
Just hanging out, just doing our
And,
thing.
yeah.
Someone already gave us a thumbs down.
Oh,
So someone doesn't like us.
yikes.
They're out to get us. It's a conspiracy. No, it's not.
Well, the nice part is we're actually in our basement.
Because our son's home.
Yeah, so he's able to keep an eye on Danica.
Yeah.
So you probably won't hear her iPad repeating words from her word search or whatever that might be. But
Yeah.
happy to have everybody along.
Let me make sure our microphone is hot. I didn't check it
And
before.
make
It
sure
is.
that we are.
I'm on this side, and you're on that side.
So that works out.
So today it works out good. Oh, we've got some people already.
Fraser J, haha, loving the cover, guys. Thanks. Darren, I saw a Trooper in August 2012 at my local fair. I didn't like the extended jamming they did that went nowhere. I want to
Really?
hear the band who are known for their radio hits. Thumbs down.
Wow.
Yikes.
Have you ever walked out of a concert?
I don't think I have. Mm-hmm. How about you?
Well, a bad experience was Elton John, the Blue Moves tour. No, I forget what tour it was. Not Blue Moves. I didn't see Elton John back then. I'm trying to think of what it was called. Anyway, we went to see him, and all of a sudden people started rushing the stage so we could get close. So I told my girlfriend at the time, going, I'm going to go up to the stage so I can get a good look at Elton John. And the security guard basically grabbed me and like I was shook me like a dog.
Ay, ay, ay.
But Elton John was great.
Rick, greetings from Ohio. Let's sing that Beatles classic, Whack in the USSR. Be sure to hit that like button, folks. Thank you, Rick. I love that.
Thanks, Rick.
Brandon, good morning. John and Shannon from Australia.
Hey!
Hi. Happy wake up. Brandon Steele, worst concert experience. Had to look after an overly intoxicated acquaintance and misses the whole show.
Oh, I've been there. Yeah, I've been there. Mostly at hockey games, though.
Hike with Mike. Hey, folks. Hey, Mike.
Hey, hi,
Chris.
Mike.
I saw the Black Crowes opening for Robert Plant on the Maniac Nirvana tour, and they were terrible. Fall down drunk. At least they finished in 30 minutes.
I'm trying to think if I've ever seen someone intoxicated. There probably was. I don't think I noticed. That's a good one.
John at Village Advisory. Australia is streaming in. Hi, John and Shannon.
Hey.
Hi, John. Gennaro, greetings from the home of the Montreal Canadiens.
Yay.
Go Habs, go. Hi, Gennaro.
I was born there, Montreal.
How long did you live in Montreal for again?
7 years. Moved away at Expo when I was 7, Expo 67, 1967. You weren't born yet. You were not going to be born for 3 years. When I graduated, Shannon was 10. I didn't date her then. Let's clarify that. Circle back. I didn't date Shannon back then.
James says a brand X, but only due to the sound guy turning the PA up too high.
Oh, I would have loved to have seen Brand X. Did Phil tour with them? I don't think I knew. I know if he did. I probably did some shows with them, but was Phil by any chance there?
David Schneider, the Beach Boys. Mike Love didn't smile once and acted like he was a chore for him to be there. It brought the whole band down.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth the free tickets that I won.
A lot of people talk about Mike Love just being a stick in the mud.
Moose says, hello, kiss with Gene Simmons, spitting his blood.
I've never seen Kiss. I would have gone in the late 70s, maybe by the early 80s I was done. But I still listen to them. If they come on the radio, I'll listen to them. I go, I want to rock and roll all night and party every day like Shannon.
John at Village Advisory says, worst concert experience, Van Morrison. All 30 minutes of it.
Oh, yeah. And it's hard to understand Van Morrison. You have the Van Morrisons, the Bob Dylans, that you're seeing a legend, and it's great to be there, but you're seeing a legend.
Ace Larson, Joe Jackson, Irvine Meadows told the crowd to F off.
Oh, no. Wow.
Yikes. Yikes. Rick May. Bad concert in college. Headliner was Chuck Berry, but his band was a local bar band. Chuck was okay, but the backup band didn't sound quite right.
Wow, these are great stories.
Brandon Steele. I suggest people go and see Moonage Daydream. Is it Moonage Daydream?
Yeah, a Moonage Daydream, yeah. The David Bowie film. It's fantastic. Oh, cool. Itchy nose.
Oh, Charles. Hey, Charles. Greetings from Miramichi. Have a wonderful night.
Oh, it's
your brother.
my bro, Charles. Charles Beaudin of Miramichi hanging out, doing his thing.
Ann Mills. I saw Hank Jr. back in the 80s. All he did was medleys and I think one full song. Pretty sure he was effed.
Yeah, Hank Williams Jr. had a major, and does he still have a major drinking problem? Major drinking problem.
Worst concert ever for Gennaro. Jeff Beck. Tickets were $150, but I received 6 free tickets.
Oh my God. Anyway.
Yikes. That's it. Oh, and Darren. Darren's just asking your brother a question.
Oh, cool. Well, the best show I ever saw with Iggy Pop, and I've mentioned that before on our live stream, where he was opening up for the Pretenders, and I was my friend Steve Burgess, the guy who gave me all those interviews, was with me, and we went with the two rock critics for each paper in Edmonton, Helen Matella, and I forget the other girl's name, and we were with them, so they always get good tickets, and so we're right in front. So that always helps when you're up in front. The concert, you're more in at the concert. You're literally on stage. I think we were in the first or second row. I forget.
Chris Booth, Neil Young played the entire Greendale album, then played 2 of his well-known songs. The crowd was finally into the show. Then the end.
Oh man, yeah, that would be.
Phil
Never
Brown. Hi Phil. Gordon Lightfoot about 13 years ago. He appeared too weak to play a show.
He seems really, really frail. I saw him in the 80s, and even at that point, he still had his voice. But his voice, as you get older, your voice gets thinner a lot of times, right? You lose your high end, and it's, yeah.
I agree with Mike here. 99% of the shows I saw were great overall. The majority of the actual shows that I saw, they were good. Like
your sister saw Hall & Oates a couple of years ago, and she really liked it. I've never seen Hall & Oates. Have you seen Hall & Oates? Nope. We went. Our concert experience before we met is. She went with Roy, right? You went with your boyfriend at the time, Roy, and I went with my girlfriend at the time, Andrea. And pretend this is just the arena here like this. I said, where was the stage?
This is Don Henley.
Don Henley, yeah.
End of the Innocence Tour.
Yeah. So
who opened up for him? Was it the Bangles?
No, it was Susanna Hoffs. Yeah, okay, might as well have been the Bangles. And I don't mean disrespect to the other players for saying that. So anyway, Shannon says, well, the stage was on my left. And I said, well, the stage was on my right. Where were you sitting? Kind of in the middle. And I'm going. We figured out that we were directly across. I mean, it's a coincidence, of course, from each other. Could have ran into each other during the show, and maybe I looked at you and said, oh, "I wish I was with her."
Blaze Eisner, brother John and sister Shannon. Hi, Blaze. The worst concert was at San Diego Convention Center, 1971. Boss Gags. The music was the best. The bad part was my date. Ruined a great evening.
Oh, that could ruin that.
See, that's
a good one.
That could make it really bad.
Yes, it's the company you keep. Going to a concert with a stick in the mud or someone you don't really like, or remember we had this theory. We used to have these big parties at our house in Calgary. And we could always tell the couples who were fighting, trying to find directions before GPS. We could always tell the couples who fought in the car because just the way they were kind of like uneasy. It's scary thing sometimes going to a party anyway, because if you don't know a lot of people, it's unnerving. But where was I going with this? It was going to change our lives. What was the last comment?
You were just talking about how before people go to parties and they're trying to get there.
Oh, parties,
and they're arguing about...
Concerts is the same thing. Remember we went to Michael Bublé. We got a chance to hang out with him backstage. And
that was a great concert.
That was a good concert, yeah. And he told a lot of dirty jokes. But
didn't he?
Yeah, and we were trying to get there, and there was this guy in front of us who wouldn't let us in. And so we were irritated anyway. I'm going, oh my God, we're not going to get there in time. And, our station was presenting the concert. Michael knew about me. I'd interviewed him before. I knew his dad, Louis. And I never met him in person, even though we were both from Vancouver at that time. So here we are in Calgary living, and by the time we got to the concert, we were both irritated. And the same thing happened with Tony Bennett. We had to meet him too, and we were having a hell of a time trying to get there in time. Because if you're going to meet someone, you can't be late.
Jeff Brush went to the festival out in Field, headlined by Nickelback. It was 35 degrees and humid, and the place was jam-packed. We were literally all sweating on top of each other.
Yeah, that's a good one. You got a good one there. I mean, you got the story to tell about it. That's the only thing about bad situations when you're at a party, speaking of parties, or around friends in general. You go, well, at least I got a story out of that.
David Ryder, Grateful Dead at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum on 6/1/91 is often cited as one of the worst Grateful Dead concerts ever. Loads of LAPD bumming the scene. Music set list was decent, but the vibe was terrible.
Wow. These are great stories. Bad stories, but great bad stories. Because it's kind of like when you watch certain of age movies and there's always all these bullies. I know everyone's grown up with bullies, but it always seems to be worse in the movies than it is in real life. Not always. I know all of you guys probably have some stories about bullies, but and then you go, can't relate to that. So I can't relate to bad concert stories too much because most of them. I mean, I'm coming from a small town. When you go to a big city and see a big town, when I saw Genesis Duke in Northlands Coliseum where the Edmonton Oilers played, that was, I'm going.
Fit to be tie-dyed. The Who exhibition stadium in Toronto, sound was echoing off the bloody scoreboard opposite the stage.
No way. Oh, wow. Yeah, acoustics is a big thing when it comes to concert. And depending upon where you're sitting in the concert, because if you're sitting at a place where it's bouncing off the scoreboard and coming towards you, yeah, where you're sitting, yeah.
Fraser J. asked, how did you guys meet?
Oh, us? Does he ask? Well, how did we meet? Shannon had her own store, which really impressed me.
I had a clothing store with my family,
Yeah.
and it was a clothing gift store, and it was in Vancouver, and we had a lady that would come in and do tarot card readings, sort of in the back, and she actually was the cursor.
It's the cursor.
She was actually a friend of John's, so she brought John.
She knew us both. So we were working. I never back then I was quite a new age guy, and I never really resonated with Reiki, even though she made me a Reiki master. And for whatever reason, I'm going. I've meditated for years. I've had some weird things happen to me, but for whatever reason, Reiki doesn't resonate with me. And she said. So we did Reiki on this native elder. I still have. If sometimes you can see it on my live feed, I have a long eagle's feather hanging down, and the gentleman says, "Oh, thank you so much," because she says, "Oh, you don't have cancer." And I remember going, "You want to see a doctor, though?" And he did, but he gave us the matching eagle's feathers from each one of the wings. So I thought that was kind of cool. So after that was done, she reads my tarot card. She says, "Oh, you're going to meet this beautiful woman. She's much younger than you, though, and it's going to be great. You're going to end up marrying her. You're going to have 2 kids." So I went, yeah, okay. I was at a great place in my life. So anyway, I said, well, I got to drive you home because I've got to go record my radio show. She says, okay. On the way there, she says, there's someone I want you to meet. And I thought, is she much younger and we're going to have 2 kids? And I said, no, come on, Sarah. I don't want to do that. I'm in a really good place in my life. I don't want to meet anybody. And then she got mad at me and she says, come on. Blah, blah, blah. And I went, okay, man, I'll meet the girl.
So it turns out I was the girl that he met.
And I invited her to an 8 p.m. potluck really, really quickly because I looked at her and I'm going, God, I'll never ask for anything again. I'm not a religious guy.
And we met in March of 97.
Yeah. And anyway, I invited her to the potluck, but then I thought, oh no, hundreds of people came to that party. It was ridiculous. Steve Burgess, again, that gentleman who gave me the interviews, invited most of the people.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. So my ex-girlfriend came, a whole bunch of people came, and then I thought, well, I'll have to have a date with her before the potluck because she's going to be scooped away in like 3 seconds. And so we did, and we had a really nice first date, and I just thought, this is it,
And we've been together ever since.
Almost every night, every day, since then, we've been together. Yes, we're codependent. Anyway.
So, that's
our story. Thank you.
Frank says, Ramones, every song was a big blur of noise that you could not tell one another from one another.
I know some people appreciate them. That we were talking about, was it Joey Ramone yesterday or the day before? passing away, and I get it, but it would sounded the same to me because I couldn't appreciate their music. I wasn't into punk at all. Rock and roll high school. Dun, 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 dun.
Noah says the Black Keys was worse because I just
Really?
didn't know the music and didn't get into it at the time.
Thank you for bringing up another point. Everyone has gone to a concert where they don't. Who was the flamenco band that we went to see?
Gypsy Kings.
Gypsy Kings. But that was fun. It didn't matter that we didn't know most of the songs.
But a lot of times, no, but I get it because sometimes you go and see a lineup because you know one or two songs, and then they play all their songs, and you're like going, okay, so the song I like is over. Okay,
okay, can we go now? We were going to ask, have you ever walked out of a concert? And I'm sure I did. I'm sure I almost fell asleep at Rush because I'd just done the all-night show and I hadn't slept the whole day. But the whole concert was amazing. And by the way, nothing personal to Boston. I just did a Boston video because Don't Look Back reached number 1 on this date in 1978 and sold 7 million copies. So go on Rock History Book. We just did a live feed for that. I barely just got on here in time. I said, Shannon, you can't talk to me. I've got to build a banner. I got to get on here because we always do it at the last minute. The Friday Night Lives always decided at the very last minute what we're going to do because I like, it's like being on radio live. I like being on the fly. Maybe not so much.
And he goes so we're so busy and he goes nonstop all day. So basically when he comes on to here, he kind of...
My day's over.
He kind of unwinds a bit, relaxes.
Yeah.
I said, don't get a yawn in there, just...
Yeah, she's right. She says, John, you know what? You're always telling us, let's be professional and let's, she always tells me wear a nice shirt. But I said, today, honey, I'm just going to wear my Boston shirt. Because she says, when I go out, because she always dresses up really, really nicely. You're actually usually dressed a little down when we're doing our feature, but she just went out with some girls. And she always says, wear a nice shirt, because you have nice shirts. And sometimes I can't wear them in front of a green screen because I end up being invisible because they have green in them.
Let me carry on here. Sweet Savage, Billy Idol in the 80s was drunk, walked off stage after the crowd booed him.
Oh my
That doesn't surprise me, though.
Oh, yeah, that's not cool.
Darren says, John, that review of Iggy Pop I found of his concert you attended that I sent you was good to read for historical significance.
Yeah, thank you so much for sending that. That's so cool. Are you still a member of that? Because you can subscribe. Was it newspaper.com? You can have access. I think I have most of the articles. It's strange because he sent me that, and in there was an article on me. On that, I didn't know. I'd forgotten that it was the same time. There was an article that was written about me. I think that's the one where I looked really gaunt. I was going through my divorce and I was not eating. You know how it is, you go through divorce, you're licking the floor with pain. You're going, I'll never learn. Maybe not quite like that. Yes, like that.
Howby 44 saw Neil Young, at the Stature Theater in Chicago. Concert was good, but Neil yelled at my wife for whistling. I took it as a compliment from him.
Oh my God!
Oops. Oopsie.
Really? I say this a lot on our feeds. Sometimes some people get mean and stuff, but it's the words not necessary. Like, does it you really have to?
W. Wordman, Baby Metal opening for RHCP, loudest and worst crap I ever heard since 1974. Kids Peppers were great.
Wow.
Four Green Frog. Oh, super chat. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
Sweet Savage, appreciate that.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Do you have a question?
Very kind.
Thanks. By the way, if you do want to support the channel anytime, you'll have options. We have a PayPal link in our description of this video and all our videos now, and we have Patreon where you have early access to our videos. Chase is upstairs right now working on the new Steve Hackett interview. I think it's interview number 8 with Steve Hackett. And it's interesting because I was talking to Jesse Cook today. He's in Vancouver Island, the flamenco guitarist. And I've interviewed Jesse, I think, about the same amount of times. I'd forgotten, but he had a bad feed. He's in Victoria tomorrow, so we're going to talk to him. But there's certain people that we've talked to so many times, and I forget sometimes. Oh, yeah, I've talked to him. Like, he said, hey, John, how's it going? How's the family? What's going on? How's Moncton? Because you get to know them a little bit, right? Oh, yeah, you got to find your place again.
I've got to go back. I'm sorry here. Four Green Frog, a friend was a great fan of Gordon Lightfoot. He insisted I go to the concert with him. Mimi Farina opened for him. I walked out angry at Lightfoot. His attitude toward the audience sucked.
Really, eh? Wow. Well, Gordon Lightfoot, I mean, things could change. I've kind of reserved myself to know, even though I'm a huge Lightfoot fan, that I probably will never interview him. And he's at an age where he probably doesn't do a lot of interviews.
Hike with Mike, I saw Joe Walsh solo in the mid-'80s. He was drunk on stage, but he was a funny drunk, so he made it through the show. Glad he sobered up. With that was a little requirement to join back with the Eagles.
Wow. Yeah, he was deep in the sauce. Very much so.
And please make sure to hit the like button.
Thank you.
We appreciate
we only have 20 likes.
Yeah, so
Oh, my.
please.
20 likes and 83 people.
Whack that button.
I don't know why I like it when you say whack that button, but I'm not going to go into that.
Okay, Fraser, wow. Let's see here. Chris says, funny one, 10,000 Maniacs opening for the Dead. A tripping guy got on stage and freaked Natalie Merchant out. She yelled, I'm never playing a stadium again, and left.
What? Wow. That's crazy. Natalie Merchant is one of those singers that her voice is so distinctive. Look, it went up to 33 likes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Her voice is so incredibly distinctive that, to me, a lot of what she does sounds the same. But I think she's very talented. Nothing against her. Hope she still sends me that birthday card. What?
Fraser J says, wow, what an amazing story you guys had. You guys were definitely destined to meet and make this channel. Thanks.
Thank you. But, again, we're on screen and people always say, oh, that we had stuff through the years, almost divorced once. And just that stuff happens. But that stuff also can make you a lot stronger. Right. And that, luckily for us, it really, really did. We had a chance to miss each other, which was really, really hard for both of us. We both had stomach aches and we couldn't do it. And then she came up to me and she said, well, what the hell are we doing? We're actually a great couple. I said, that's right, Honey Bunch. That's right. Honey Bunch.
Paul Evans.
Maybe not Honey Bunch.
Sadly, Kansas was my worst show.
Oh,
it
no.
was the Monolith tour and it was just so boring. My date fell asleep.
Oh, no. I love Monolith. Children of the Southwind. I love that album.
Oh, dear.
I mean, not as much as Left Overture and Point of No Return, but...
Mike says, worst concert I ever got to go to, the Outfield. Gave a cheap concert in Tampa. The interstate was at a standstill. The concert folks were constantly getting out of the cars to pee on the side. Turn back.
Oh, my God. Just gonna open the door and take a whiz, you know what I'm saying?
Ooh. Bob's Place, Hank Williams Jr. The sound was so loud it was distorted, and after 4 songs, he sent the band off stage and sat in a chair and did about 2 to 3 lines of his dad's songs. He was on something.
You know what? There was one of my army buddies invited some of his friends over in the 80s at a party we were at. It wasn't even at my house. And they were all big Hank Williams Jr. fans. And they all traded stories on bad Hank Williams Jr. Basically his attitude. So I went, wow. Well, I wasn't a fan at all because I didn't like that kind of country. So
Robert says, saw Van Halen 3 times. It was great the first in 80, not the other 2 times. Eddie wasn't in good shape.
Really? That's hard, right? You're seeing this guy who's indestructible and you're going, oh boy, he's falling apart. He had a lot of physical problems.
Iron and Man in 2009, Motorhead and Megadeth, 1985, San Bernardino, Orange Show.
San Bernardino.
Orange Show. It was so loud it took your head off. Never want to see it so loud again, ever.
That's hard. You know what?
It's just... Oh.
Remember Chase? Kenny Aronoff, his first drumming clinic, and for whatever reason, most parents will when you went to your first concert, chances are your parents said it's going to be loud. Here, bring these. And for Chase, it never occurred to me. So Kenny's a loud drummer, John Mellencamp's drummer, former. Kenny's known as being one of the loudest drummers in the industry. So we're there. Kenny comes in, he shakes hands with the kids. He says, hey, kid. He shook hands with Chase. I hope you enjoy it. So we're in the first or second row, I forget. I can never remember if I'm in the first, second row. You'd think I'd remember that. And he gets on stage and he looks at Chase and the other kids. He says, oh, God, kids, it's going to be really loud so that you know that. And then when it started, I turned around and Chase was 8 or 9. I turned around. He looked like someone had physically punched him in the stomach. And Kenny's playing so loud. And I'm going, "Are you okay?" He says,
And
"Yeah."
that's when he got his first noise canceling headphones.
Yeah.
Because you guys...
during the thing.
Yeah, you went and bought some.
I knew Jeff. What's Jeff's last name? I forget. He's a great drummer. He's sponsored too. And Jeff Tower. So I waved at him, and I said, "We need some noise canceling headphones." And he says, "I'll get it." And then I paid for them later. And we went in the back. Chase got in the car. He's a little kid. He just started crying as soon as we got in the car. He just said, "I never want to go to a concert again." That's what that. It was so traumatic for him that it was that loud. Then it made me think, "Oh my God." Anyone who goes to a concert and no one warns them at their first concert that it's loud. But of course, we went to a lot of drum clinics. He was just a little kid.
Thank you, Robert.
Robert Schluter.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that.
Appreciate the super chat.
It's still there. Well, it is a super chat.
Bertha says, greetings from Mexico City. Def Leppard Joe Elliott could not sing. Horrendous voice. He looked like an old drunk woman.
Really? Joe Elliott, huh? I can't say, they're one of those bands, everyone thinks like the harder rock stuff. I tend not to navigate to it as much, and I don't cover it as much on the channel. There are a lot of guys who do it a lot, who know the music a lot more than I do. So I never bought a Def Leppard album in my life. I've got all their albums on my... when I was a program director, we'd all make sure we had what the other program director in the chain had. So I have this humongous NAS system with practically everything in it.
Brian Cox saw Neil Young in Louisville in mid-'80s. After doing first acoustic set, got sick and unable to perform electric set. Fans rioted and threw chairs.
Yeah. Well, remember we went to see Fleetwood Mac? I've never seen Fleetwood Mac. When we went to see them, we had really good tickets.
We had the
Floor
best tickets. We were so hyped
Right
to
in
go.
front.
We were standing out, like just about to enter. It was canceled.
And the word was it was Stevie Nicks that she got mad at someone in the band. Could have been Lindsay, I don't know. But yeah, we never got a chance. I think we were row 15, which is kind of comfortable for me.
Rick says, homecoming concert at college. Not sure who convinced the bands this was a good idea. The opening act was the OJ's headliner, Sha-Na-Na. How drunk was the promoter when he came up with this combo?
Yeah. Well, Sha-Na-Na is a tough, being that kind of band. I've talked to Henry Gross, who was in the band, was with the band at Woodstock. And yeah, they're a different type of band.
Darren says, John, I'm not sure you know this, but if you flip the Boston debut album upside down, this spaceship looks like a guitar.
Yep.
You knew that.
Yep. I drew the Boston album on my wall at home. I don't... Hold on. Give me a second. I might be able to show you. Like to see it. Hold on. Do you see it here anywhere? This is all our meeting people. I'm pretty sure it's here.
Pizzazz Daddy, as off topic, but have you interviewed the new Chicago CD yet?
No, I tried to get an interview and they didn't give it to me. Here, I'm going to show you my wall. Hold on. Here we go. It's my wall from New Brunswick. Where is it? I found it. Yeah, there you go. That's my wall at home. I'll just show you this. I drew this when I was in high school. Not that I want to cover up Shannon, because no one should ever cover up Shannon, but I'll just show you in a second. That's my wall. That's the wall that I did in high school in black light paint. That's my bedroom, and it's still there. My mother never covered it up. I'm going to take it down. There's Boston up there. So that's my wall. Many people have asked me if I wanted to sell it, but we just call it the wall. There you go. Just want to show you that. I don't know how to take this down. There we go.
Ooh, how do I bring that back over?
I think you might have to go like this, and then
good.
That'd be good. Yeah. That wall was famous in high school. A lot of folks that didn't even hang out with me wanted to come and see my wall. And I said, "Hey, you want to talk to me in the hallways, maybe?" Jeez.
I'm sorry if I missed anybody out. I'm so far behind here in reading.
Okay.
So, Surfer Boy. Hello, John and Shannon from Boston. Hey, Surfer Boy. Brandon Steele, have you reached out to Steve Piaz yet? I love him. I love it when he regals stories and synthesizers.
Who? Steve Perry? Steve Picaro.
Yes.
No, I haven't, but I'll text him. I have his number. I can text him anytime. He's my favorite, probably my favorite member of as far as talking to man, Steve Picaro by far. Joseph's probably my favorite actual member because I just love his voice.
Yeah, Steve is one of my favorites. He's so nice.
You always ask, how's Shannon? And also Henry Gross, when we talk, the guy who sang the song Shannon, who sang it to Shannon on a live feed.
Nice. It was so nice.
He told me, he said, don't tell anybody, but I'm going to sing Shannon to Shannon.
So sweet.
And man, can he still sing?
Oh, for sure.
But Henry Gross always says, how's Shannon? How's she doing?
Mike Smith, worst concert was Prince in Louisville. He was terrible.
Really? Wow.
Darren says, Kim Mitchell mentioned in a recent interview that Joe Walsh was initially chosen to produce the Rockland album, but he was out of it at the time.
Wow. Rockland Wonderland. God, I love that song. I love that album. I love. There's not a bad song on that album.
David says, Aerosmith in 1976, 1977 in Memphis were terrible. Must have been on drugs.
Well, what was it?
In 1976,
oh God, they
77.
were. Oh God, they were. They were out of it at that stage. Yeah. But what is it called? Night of the Ruts. Night of the. What was the name of that album that came out in the late '80s? The one after Draw the Line. There was Rock's Draw the Line, and yeah, they were in the sauce a lot. They were having major problems.
Oscar says Bob Dylan awful. Foo Fighters are great.
Yeah.
DJH Record Hound. Hey. Hi, John, Shannon, and chat. Worst sound was any concert at the Sky Dome in Toronto.
Really? Again?
Is it that bad?
Yeah, I've never been. I never went.
Michael says Grand Funk about 4 years ago. No Mark Farner. Wife and I walked out after long drum solo. Only a few songs in. Wow.
Don Brewer. You bring Mark Farner back in. Mel and Don need to bring him back in to do one more big tour.
Michael says Judas Priest in 81 or 82. I love loud music and saw Zepp in 77 and they were loud, but Priest was way too loud. I've been to over 500 concerts and they were the loudest.
Wow, you've been to way more concerts than me. Good for you, man. Good for you.
John Adams, Meatloaf. I saw him and he swore so many times I lost count.
Really?
Really?
It's like a comedian that relies on swearing a lot. Not that I really mind that, I must say, in comedy, but yeah.
Jeff says, I've told the story before on your show here, but it's also a good one.
Okay.
At a Kiss show in 1984, I got hit in the back with a flaming broomstick. I didn't get hurt and my friends and I just laughed.
Oh my God. Well, remember I told you, I asked Ian Anderson of Jethro Tull, I think I've interviewed him 5 or 6 times. And he said, what's the craziest thing a fan has done? And a lot of you know this story already. He said, something hit me and I looked down and there was blood coming out of my chest. And I went, oh, I've been shot. But how come I don't really necessarily feel any different? Maybe it's the adrenaline from the show. And then he realized as he looked down that it was a used tampon that was thrown at him from an audience member.
Oh my God.
There you go. Drop the mic, Ian Anderson. I've told that story to a lot of people. I said, let me preface you answering that question by telling you what Ian Anderson said of Jethro Tull. I really thanked him for that. I said, man, I don't think anyone can beat that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've got to collect myself after that one.
You're verklempt.
Jeffrey Jackson, my daughter talked me into taking her to see Hillary Duff in Pittsburgh years ago.
Oh, man.
Lots of screaming kids and their mums. About 5 dads in the whole building.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Wow. I took my daughter from my first marriage to Bryan Adams, and she was not tall enough, and everyone was standing up. So I had to pick her up like this, and she would have been up here. So I picked her up under her bum like that and try to hold her so she could be taller than everyone else so she could see Bryan Adams. And I had to go to a chiropractor the next day. I was in such bad shape. I went to get a massage professionally. It was a terrible situation, but man, she was really happy and she loved Bryan Adams. So there you go, Candace.
Brad B, hate to say this, but Leslie West in 85 or 86,
Really?
he seemed angry and sat on a trunk the entire show. Didn't play many songs. A major disappointment for a favorite guitarist.
Wow.
Mike says, rock concerts are way too loud. I stopped going to save my ears.
They are loud. I'm happy to say, and I'm not a headphones guy. In radio, and still when I record my radio show, I have to put headphones on, but I never played headphones really loud. But I've always been one of those guys that I'm afraid someone's behind me. I was a scaredy cat growing up, and I'm not now. As you know, I walk around the house when it's pitch black. But I still have this thing about someone coming up behind me when I have headphones. So I never wore, I used to have a real nice set of Koss headphones in the 70s, but I never wore headphones with loud music a lot. And I've protected my ears, and Chase has inserts when he plays drums, so he protects his ears too, our son. He's 18.
Zen Clover 84, Motley Crue opened for Aerosmith. Aerosmith was great, but Crue was just horrendous. Unprofessionally bad, drunk, horrible.
Yeah. I've heard that story an awful lot when it comes to Motley Crue. Never saw them, but I used to call it crotch rock in the 80s. That wasn't my lane. I like some of the videos though.
Simon says, Brian Connolly in the New Suite back in the late 80s. Brian was obviously in a bad way, turned up late on stage and proceeded to forget the words to many of his hits. We left halfway through.
Well, now Andy Scott's the only one left, right? You know, they're all, Mick Tucker's gone, Brian's gone, and Steve, what's his name? Oh, God, it'll come to me.
Michael says, John Mayer loved his early stuff as well as his blues playing.
Steve Priest.
Couldn't hear most of the show over the shrieking woman in the crowd. I totally see
We were
that.
just listening to
I was
John
just
Mayer.
saying, yeah, I go see his concert.
Yeah. We used to run a radio station called Rock History Music, and we kept all the music, and it's on rotate in my car, and the album covers come up and everything because I had to get them on there for the radio station at the time. So it's kind of like our own little radio station. And John Mayer came up, and Shannon says, we should listen to John Mayer more. I said, yeah, I haven't listened to him in a while.
JP says, absolutely loved Toto, but one show in Philly, Bobby Kimball's voice was gone. Audience was polite, but we're wondering what went wrong.
Well, their last live album with Bobby, I was watching the video of it, and he was suffering. He was having a hard time. You know, nostalgia is a great thing, and I love Bobby Kimball. I've interviewed him 3 times, and he'll never perform again. I mean, I'm in close contact with his producer, John Zaka. I just talked to him a few days ago, and Bobby's not conscious the way you and I are. He's just not there anymore. You know, he's in a bad way and has been vocally for quite a while. But John's working on, I think the first album he worked with him. He's redoing the whole thing. But Bobby's not going in and redoing it because he can't physically do it. It's like Randy Meisner in the way, but Randy's still here of the Eagles. Randy's still conscious. He knows who he is, right?
Fraser says, I haven't been, I haven't been there, but check out Paul Young concerts on YouTube. It's totally embarrassing now. Really sad.
Really? Paul Young every time you go away? Wow.
Yeah.
He looks good. I'll tell you that much. I mean, he looks like the Marlboro Man now. Looks completely different, but we all do from the 80s, right?
Rick chimed in, Deep Purple, the band was so wasted they had a hard time playing. I walked out.
Oh, when was that? What era would have that been? Or as they say with Deep Purple, Mark 1, Mark 2?
David Ryder, hi David. U2 at the Cow Palace 1985 was gnarly. The floor was surging in every direction. Hard to watch the show when you're trying to keep yourself upright. Found some seats, wouldn't change a thing. So I guess you don't walk out.
Thank you for that. By the way, folks, if you're just joining us, we do this every Friday night at 9 p.m. Atlantic, which is 8 p.m. Eastern. And
please hit the like button if you are enjoying our chats.
Shan likes to say whack it. Because who is it that tells us to whack it?
Was it Rick?
I think the guys just like hearing you say whack the like button. Not sure why.
Hike with Mike. I never wear headphones. I like to be aware of my surroundings, especially when hiking in the swamp. I gotta be aware so I don't get eaten. LOL.
Oh my God. You got stories to tell.
The swamp. Oh.
Watch those gators. It could ruin your life.
Flavelinator. I think that's how you pronounce it. Sorry, the cars in 1984 at the Forum in LA. They didn't acknowledge the crowd at all. No hello, no goodbye, no introduction of band members, and didn't move an inch. It was weird though. They sounded good.
Wow. Robert Palmer did that. He didn't talk to the audience. Otmar Liebert did that. Didn't talk to the audience. I had just interviewed him that day.
And he was in Bare Feet. And I remember,
but he does that.
And I remember saying that, he's going to at least talk with us or just engage in nothing.
I just interviewed him that day, and he just seemed like the nicest guy. But that's what, I guess, for that tour or that show, that's what he was doing. But Robert Palmer never said a word. I think he said thank you.
Michael says Black Sabbath with Dio, Mob Rules tour. Band sounded like a broken air conditioner, and friend OD'd. Terrible experience.
Oh, man. That's awful. Yeah, like we were saying a while ago, everyone's been with people. Remember you were in your high school reunion with a friend. No, I'm not going to say her name. And she was so drunk. So Shannon's having to look after her at a high school reunion. And the next day she was just kind of like, oh, no problem. And Shannon's trying to say, you kind of ruined the experience for me. But everyone's done that at a concert, where you're too busy.
There's always someone that is falling apart somewhere.
Yeah, every concert.
There's always something.
They might not be with you.
There's always something, or you don't think you'll be that person falling apart, and it's you at that concert.
No, I've never been drunk at a concert. I treasure them too much, and I didn't drink much in the '80s anyway.
You just want to be present because you're so excited to be there, and just to see one of your, someone that you admire so much.
One of your idols.
You just want to,
and then drink after. Go to the bar after. Have a good time.
Steve said, John, I still have my Boston 79 DLB World Tour t-shirt, just like yours.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
DJH says, cost headphones was the case. With the case. I use mine for everything I did in radio production. Yeah.
I didn't bring them. Interesting. I didn't bring them. We had Sennheisers at the radio station, which a lot of stations used. And of course, right there, that Studer Realtree, what is it, A807? Yeah. Anyway, that thing is worth $10,000. And I couldn't get, here in Moncton, I couldn't get someone offered me $4,000. Because we were we've got to put some advertising into this radio station. And I don't use it a lot. It's basically furniture. And but in the East Coast here, where the economy is not great, it's not great anywhere. I thought I can't sell it for $4,000. That's ridiculous. It's selling on eBay for $10,000.
Warren Designs. I saw Johnny Cash perform with June and their son, with my HSGF
girlfriend.
Yep, girlfriend and her family at a state fair. It was horrible. It was horribly hokey, like an episode of Hee Haw.
Oh, like Donnie and Marie. We were just watching. Have you guys watched Donnie and Marie do Reeling in the Years? Okay, don't leave us now, but just mental. You've probably seen it. Donnie and Marie doing Steely Dan's Reeling in the Years.
Okay.
Oh my God, it's the whitest version you've ever heard in your life. It's
like a must see.
And we're reeling in the years, and they do it they change the tone. They changed the key.
How old ago was this?
Oh, this was Donnie and Marie's show. What did she do with her hair when Marie? Remember in the 70s when they had the show together? Why did she cut her hair? That was the worst haircut in the world. She had like a boy haircut, like a bob thing. It was really short. I was disappointed in that more than Reeling in the Years.
So I bet you were going to have people who are going to go and tune into that.
We just lost half our watchers.
Because I wanted to take off
Reeling in the Years, Donnie and Marie. If you must leave us for Donnie and Marie.
Gregory said Meatloaf lost his vocal prowess about 5 years before he died.
Yeah, very true. Because it's on video. By the way, for anyone who's new to this, every Friday night we do come on here at 9 o'clock Atlantic, 8 p.m. Eastern, and talk for an hour. We usually have a topic, because the videos do better if they have a topic. And you kind of don't... Because if we don't have a topic, it's you guys basically asking me questions or Shannon questions, right? No, she's not single. She's my wife, but just in case. She got ID'd at the liquor store today again.
No.
Yeah.
I had my mask on.
And Shannon says, I think I was older than her.
I'm pretty sure I was, because she was like, oh, okay then.
Yeah. Anyway, I haven't been ID'd since never.
Since 79.
Since 79 when I turned 19, which is the drinking age in this province. It's strange when we think of it. I've been out, but it's okay. I'm glad. Hey, you kidding? I'm glad.
Or the one time I got ID'd and you got asked if you qualified for the seniors discount.
Yeah, at London Drugs.
Good times.
That was awesome. No, Shoppers Drug Mart.
Good times.
Good times. But I laugh at that and I'm going, I look like a boot and you don't go in the sun, so.
Jeff says, I saw Bobby K with Toto for the Falling in Between tour and the tour after. Unfortunately, he was in good shape.
He was?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Rick May saw Jethro Tull in 1972, the Thick as a Brick tour. They played the entire song and finished it in about an hour later. Needless to say, a very short set list. Locomotive Breath was the encore.
Oh, cool. Ian's, you know what? I found Ian a little intimidated for the first interview. And every interview after that, I realized he was a great rock star who was older than me, who if you gave him the time and were respectful and you do your research, he will treat you like $1 million. And every time he's done that, it's nice when Ian Anderson says, "Hey, John, how you been?" Like, pretty good.
Ed Biss, hi guys. Rolling Stones in living color in the Carrier Dome.
Oh, Syracuse.
New York in the 80s. The sound from the dome was garbage. Wasn't worth the $180 ticket. Have a great weekend, guys.
Thanks for sharing that. Wow. Certain stadiums. It depends, though, with certain stadiums where you're sitting, right? I mean, the Gypsy Kings, we were in the nosebleeds. Remember, we got there late.
It's still good. I still had a good time.
Oh, you had to close the store. Weren't we late because...
I can't remember.
I think it was you had to close the store.
Simon. Hi, Simon. Hi, Shannon.
Simon.
John. Second worst was another Gordon Lightfoot gig a few years ago at the Albert Hall in London. Wow. Gordon was inaudible and mumbled his way through every song.
Oh, no.
He said it was just sad.
You gotta know when to fold them, right? Thanks, Kenny Rogers.
Pulsar Lights. There are no bad concerts anymore because they all cheat and use backing tracks.
Yeah.
True or false?
Well, not all of them, of course, but a lot of them do. Kiss certainly does.
Mike Smith, best concert was my mom's Christmas concert at her house when I was about 6 years old.
Best answer!
Way to break it up there. I like that.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah.
Tim.
By the way, sorry to interrupt. Please like our video. It does make a difference with YouTube. And remember, like I've said this 3 times already, but it's important for us to say this. This channel is mostly interviews. And Shannon's going to get more involved as the months go by here, especially with winter coming. But this channel, almost everything on this channel is interviews with the exception of Friday night, where I basically take questions from you and Shannon reads them and we both, we talk about them. But if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, because if you like rock and roll interviews, we do a lot of that on this channel.
Tim Hartson, Ronnie James. James Dio,
Yeah.
Not his fault. I had floor seats at the Forum in LA. I was probably 25 rows back and everyone was standing on their seats. Couldn't see a thing. Ronnie, he sounded awesome though.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've been in that situation, but I've seen so many shows. We don't see shows anymore. We hardly ever go. Richard Marx, we went to see him. Chase and I went to see Hart. By the way, update on the Hart interview, Steve Fossen and Michael DeRosier, or DeRosier, as us French guys would say. They're all chopped up. I'm going to try to put those up because I don't think I'm going to get an Ann Wilson interview, because I have a feeling I'm in the bad books because I talked to Roger Fisher and his brother. So I think for whatever reason, I mean, she's allowed, she's Ann Wilson, but I tried and they kept giving me the runaround. So as much as I love Ann Wilson, I wanted her to have a chance to have a rebuttal for some of the things these guys have said. But it's not going to happen, so we're going to put those interviews up. And we'll repost the interviews from Roger Fisher.
Hayes Anderson, worst show I saw turned out to be the best.
Oh.
Babes in Toyland at Lollapalooza. We left the main stage. It was so bad and got to see Tool instead back in 1994.
Wow.
Nice.
Good for you, man. That's cool.
DJH, Reelin' in the Years by Donnie and Marie sounds almost as bad as One Take Over the Line.
Oh, I remember One
On the
Take Over
Lawrence
the Line.
Welk show.
One Take Over the Line, yeah. Now I've got that. Sweet Jesus.
Tom says, I saw Sabbath in 2013 in Houston. Ozzy sang off key. There's footage on YouTube and never left the teleprompter.
Oh boy. Yeah, that's when you're really not giving. I mean, why? Do you need the money that bad?
Warner Designs. I do have to leave, and not because of Donnie Marie singing Reelin' in the Years. Dinner time. Shannon, John, enjoy your weekend. Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Warner.
Thanks for making us laugh. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Robert says Jethro Tull was phenomenal both times I saw him in concert.
Oh, cool. Them. Yeah. Yeah. Ian's still one of my favorite interviews. What was I going to say? I hate this getting old train of thought.
Michael Graves, 38 special at the local fair, 3 shows a day on the free stage, 15 to 20 people watching at 1 p.m. Felt bad for them.
Wow, no kidding. Appreciate you sharing that, but wow. Oh, we're 9 minutes to go.
Hey Rick, listening to another Beatles classic, 8 Days of Whack. Hit that like button, folks. Oh my God, you killed me. That's so funny.
Oh, that's good.
He's our guy with hit the whack button. I knew it was Rick.
Yeah. I think guys just like hearing you say whack. But anyway.
Michael says, want to hear so bad. It's great. Check out Telly Savalas.
Oh, Telly Savalas, yeah.
You've Lost That Love and Feeling. It's a classic.
Oh my God. Or was it Rocket Man by William Shatner when he's spoken word?
Oh.
Yeah. That's the classic.
Darren says, Shannon, did you ever think 25 years ago when you met John that you'd be marrying a DJ, musicologist, and doing a YouTube channel on music?
Never, eh?
Never, no. We've had an interesting 25 years, and we've done a ton of stuff, and we've moved across the country. We've had different occupations, different jobs, a ton of different experiences, met a ton of different people.
Yeah.
And we're just bring it on.
Yeah. If Shannon, like, she was wearing her, what do you call it? She was wearing her slip till about 1 o'clock today. And I always say the same thing. House coat. Well, it was pretty teeny.
It was just so nice just to kick back and relax.
I always say I'm winning if she's doing the A. I like when she wears those things. But B, when she used to work outside the home, she would come home and she was selling new homes, very nice new homes, and doing really, really well. And she'd come home and work for another 4 to 6 hours. And she was killing herself. And I finally said, when we started moving out here, I said, I'm going to try to make enough money on YouTube.
Let's just change things up a little, right? Yeah. Let's just take a little more time to breathe. And
Remember when they made fun of Bjork on Saturday Night Live? They said, air for breathe, air for breathe. Remember that?
Hike with Mike, idea for a live stream.
Mm-hmm.
Bands or singers you never got to see live and regret it.
Oh,
that's a great one.
Wow.
Put that down.
I'm gonna email you that.
Thanks, Mike.
One.
You've had some good singers for us. Bands or singers you never got to see live and regret it. So definitely put that in.
Oh, hold on. I want to show you guys something. This is I know you don't like when I show pictures of you. This is Shannon when she used to always get dressed up like
that. In 2013. That was
years and years ago. And she'd go to work dressed with these nice dresses.
That's great.
So I just put that on Facebook the other day because it came up on my feed from 2013, and she never lets me take that day. She let me take a picture.
I'm not a picture person. It's not my thing. Jeff Brush, the same Total show. I met Luke after, and he bought me 2 drinks at the bar. This is when he was still drinking. He was super nice and talked to me about a few albums. Met Simon too.
Oh, I love Simon. Simon's such a nice man. He's such a decent human being.
Hi, John and Shannon.
Oh, sorry you sent me that email. We were just talking about that today. I'm going to get back to you. Thank you so much for taking the time. Oh, I'm so glad you're here. Taking the time to write me this wonderful letter. And I'll write you back. if you want to text us anytime, we can give you our phone number. But thank you so much for writing that letter. I felt so bad. I'd been so busy. I completely forgot. And we don't like the excuse when people tell us they're busy, but sometimes you're just busy. So, Leica, thank you for being on tonight. Sorry about that.
Carrie Crouch. Hi, you two. Hi, Carrie. Zuma, Elton John in the 80s when he did a solo tour with a piano, no band, and didn't play any known hits. A weird era for him.
I've never heard of him not playing hits, but I've heard him digging deep in for like the deep cut stuff. Yeah.
So I'm reading beyond other video. John says Aerosmith back in the 70s. Steven Tyler was so drunk he was puking on the side of the stage. He walked up to Joe Perry and grabbed the strings of his guitar and pulled so hard he broke some strings.
Oh, the things that people do when they're out of it.
David Ryder, you got to do another first concert stream. I missed that one. Mine was Chicago at Oakland Coliseum Arena 1977. Dad took me. I was 11. It was either Kath's final show or
Terry Kath, yeah.
Or sorry, I can't. Penultimate before he passed. Before
who? I don't know who that is. I don't know what that word is.
I'm not sure.
Oh, both of my feet crack. Getting old.
Rome loves Dan. I have been to a crazy eclectic array of concerts, lots of diverse acts. I never seem to regret seeing a band. If I reach, I would say X at the Roxy 1980s. Not bad. I just didn't feel inspired.
Yes, that's another thing. Thank you for bringing that up. Sometimes you'll go to a show and you'll go, and if you love the band so much, you go, oh yeah, that was pretty good. But inside you're going, it was okay. It was okay. I love the band. It didn't rise to the expectations, right?
Randy says Def Leppard 1987 at Buckeye Lake in Ohio. They had to stop the concert twice because of so many fights in the audience.
Def Leppard's come up a few times tonight.
Here's an oldie but a goodie. David Bowie and Bing Crosby sing White Christmas. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah, I love that. I love that. Some people don't like it at all. It took me a while to like it, I have to admit. I remember going, what's he doing there? Why is he singing with Bing Crosby? Why? And now it's one of my favorite Christmas songs.
D. Gunther says Triumph, Yorkton, Saskatchewan, 1982, played for 18 minutes. Emmett dropped his guitar and walked off stage.
I wonder what was going on. I should ask him about that. You know what? I might email him about that.
Mike Smith says the Beatles tribute band 1964 played at the Louisville Place was like a really great time travel experience.
Oh, cool. We got 3 more minutes, folks. If you want to support the channel, I always say the 2 Ps. We have a Patreon account where you get early access to our videos, all our interviews, and we also have a PayPal account if you want to make a donation to the channel. We'd appreciate that. We put the money towards it. We're buying a new computer. We're almost there. We're almost there to buy a new computer.
I've got one more here. H2O Field. Zahn opened for Prism in 78. My friend did some acid and he freaked out when the lead singer of Zahn came out in a
the mask, yeah,
in a paper mache head. He climbed the PA system, was chased out of the building.
Oh my God. I have the Zahn album in blue vinyl in the back. It's one of the few colored vinyl ones I have. Now I know everyone buys colored vinyl for now the new 180.
Lugnut, fun fact, Grand Funk Solo sold out Shea Stadium.
Stadium, yeah, faster than the Beatles.
Yeah.
We have a clip on our channel where he talks about that. Well, I've got, I think, maybe 2 or 3 clips where Mark Farner talks about it. And Don Brewer as well. I interviewed Don Brewer as well. Not Mel Shacker, but I don't think that'll happen because I'm in the bad books with those guys. Not with Mark, but with Don Brewer and Mel Shacker.
I think we're pretty good here.
Now I've got the Zahn song in my head. Yep, we've got to go, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us. Shannon just got here in time because she went out with some girls tonight.
It's been really fun here.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I really enjoy the shows.
Yeah.
really like connecting and.
Shannon's going to start doing some shorts on this channel. So we'll let you know about that when we get a little bit more information, when we cement the idea a little bit more. But we have an autistic wonder upstairs, our autistic daughter, who every night at 10 o'clock
It's time for a Scrabble time.
plays Scrabble with her mom.
Yeah.
Love you guys. Take good care of yourself. Have a
Thanks.
nice weekend.
Bye. Thank you.
See ya.